Let's start with OFOM, shall we? So we have Reba and Nichole with OFOM, Ogden Friends of Acoustic Music. Nichole, are you the person who started the whole thing?
Well, actually, yes. I had a crazy idea to bring a music festival to Ogden.
How many years ago?
Well, that was 2008 that the idea sprung up.
But how long was it stirring in your mind? Like, let's do this.
Well, I hadn't been to a whole lot of festivals. I've always been a big fan of live music and going to concerts and things, but loving bluegrass shows.
Yeah.
But my brother started a festival in Flagstaff in 2008, and I was there, and my mom was there, and we looked around, and we said, we could do this in Ogden, and I knew just the place, Fort Buenaventura.
Did you know immediately that you wanted it to be like a nonprofit, or how do you wanted to organize it? Or?
No, I didn't know anything about all that stuff. And actually, it was a specific band that really influenced me, and that was the Kruger Brothers.
Okay.
Just amazing. You know, Jens Kruger plays the banjo, and the tears just start flowing down everybody's face. And magical, you know. And I got to know them because they were friends with my brother, and it was kind of funny. I said, well, I want to bring you to Ogden, and we started at the Egyptian Theater, at Perry's Egyptian.
Oh, okay.
And, yeah, Joel, one of the Kruger brothers, he kind of just talked me through. You need insurance. You need to have a sound system. You know, there's all these moving parts, and I'm like, oh, this sounds really overwhelming. I don't think I can do it.
What was your experience before?
Oh, well, I really didn't have any, except I've always been a nurse, and I started, my first volunteer gig was for the Olympics at Snow Basin, and it was kind of like a slippery slope.
Yeah.
And crazy enough, that same year, I also, because of my love of bluegrass and acoustic music, I trained to be a DJ at KRCL. It kind of came together that...
and you still do that?
I do.
Yeah.
And I'm just a music fan, and that all I really attribute to my brother, who played in a bluegrass band and just kind of turned me on to all that. But I became obsessed about certain artists, and
So you started a festival to bring in your favorite bands.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think this is a common thing.
Todd, that's a good idea. You should think about that.
Well, what do you think band sessions is? That's pretty much what I do. Yeah. No, it's true. So I can hang out with my favorite people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Todd does the audience, the attendees, all of that it's all bonus. It's gravy. That's great. But mostly it's just for me. And
yeah, that's me too. If I didn't bring, and I had like a top 10 list, and I pretty much have worked down that list and
okay, who have you not got yet?
That was one of my questions. Yeah, that's great.
That you really want.
I really wanted Chris Stapleton. We were so close. I was negotiating, and finally it was a hard no. And I'm like, is it the money? What? Well, turns out that was the weekend that he was releasing his hit record, Traveler. And, you know, Nashville area, you got venues within an hour of each other, you know, or cities, big cities.
Yeah.
They weren't about to come to Utah for that weekend. And then from then he was like on a trajectory.
Yeah.
The other ones that we barely missed, the Black Pumas. Just missed them. We're negotiating, and within a week the price had tripled, and Yola was another one. Darn, if I would have just offered another couple of grand. And I'm like, I don't know.
Okay, without giving numbers, give us all the numbers. How much? What are these?
Well,
what do they charge? Like, what for a top act? Like, how much do we got to pay for these folks?
Well, so many people that I know that don't know the music say, well, how about so-and-so or so-and-so, and all these, you know, high names. I'm like,
people we've heard of.
If you know those names, we can't get them.
Okay.
So our job is to find the ones that are up and coming, that are fabulous, but yet we can afford them. But
there's been exceptions to that. There have been some huge names that you've brought in.
Right.
And that has to be beyond, like you said, the money necessarily. It had something to do with your beautiful location or some sort of lunch with the two of you, and you just won them over.
Well, a lot of it is relationships with the agents, and I've grown those over the years, and that's been really fun. And I get to know these folks over the telephone and by email, and then had an opportunity to meet him when I went to the Americana Music Association conference in Nashville in 2017. That was so fun. And these relationships really last, and that's what allowed us to get Lake Street Dive, was working with one of the people that started and helped me out from the very beginning, because I was learning, and looking back, they were so nice to walk me through these things. And like this guy also had Elin Jewell, and we've really got to get her back.
Oh, yeah.
We had Elin in town a few times, and anyway, Chris Favel, he got us Lake Street Dive, and then they went and changed their agency, and
It's definitely a timing thing, that's for sure.
yeah.
We've kind of experienced that in a similar way with muralists, with artists, working with the city. And that's our goal, kind of working with this advisory board, is to try to find those artists before they're truly unaffordable.
The visual artist.
Yeah, the visual
mural.
artist. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's the exact same situation. Okay, so you do not have to name a name, but I have to ask if there have been any misses. Any misses in the bands that you've booked that have performed and you wish they had not come?
Oh,
We've
geez.
had a couple.
Ooh, the opposite.
That's
Nice.
brutal. Yeah.
No, that's the kind of the reality of booking bands sometimes.
I have one without naming names,
Yeah,
and it's really
the learning experience.
a learning experience. And so oftentimes we will have bands play a couple of times because it's cost effective, but also the bands that we would choose to do two sets would do two totally different sets,
Oh, so two in the same weekend, because should mention if
so
you're
like
not familiar,
Saturday
it's multiple days.
and
Okay.
Sunday at the festival, but mix it up.
Right.
And we had a band that we had we had them do 3 sets. They did some festival sets, and we used to do an outreach in downtown Ogden on Monday night after the festival, really to just reach that demographic of folks that would not come out to the fort, but reach some people in town with artists that had come to the festival. And we had a band that played the exact same set 3 times.
Yeah.
And it was so disappointing.
Yeah.
Because they had more material.
Right.
I mean, I think they probably had more material. Anyway,
Let's just say they were comfortable with this one set.
that's what they had rehearsed, and that's what they were doing. Yeah.
So, Michelle, this is a big project. It's a 3-day event. I don't know when it turned into
Yeah.
that, but when did you get volunteers and some of the best people out there like Reba to help you?
Well, Reba came along the next year, and what a godsend. It was our mutual friends. Well, now Ray Baker said, "What? You don't know Reba? And you've got to meet Reba." And really,
That's
Reba
what
just
everyone
came
in
up
town
and
says
said,
about you.
I
It's
know.
so true. Yeah.
because it really was kind of a solo thing. I had my mom's women's council at McKay Hospital helping me do a hamburger truck.
They were amazing.
Wow.
And and it was one of those people, Nikki Lovell, who worked with United Way, and she said, "Oh my gosh, we can write grants. We can write grants under the umbrella of United Way," and oh my gosh, that opened so many doors. And
Yeah.
we learned how to be grant writers.
I think a
And
moment for Nikki. Thank you, Nikki.
I know.
That's a huge first step. That just you use the word grant and grant writing. That's like a big hurdle.
Yeah, and it was intimidating. And by 2 years later, with Reba's help, we became our own 501c3 through the 25-page application to the IRS. And
And does it take like a year to approve?
yeah, I want to say it took longer than that.
Because we
Like
got
18
it
months.
in 2011, so yeah.
Yeah. So working hard all the time, and the moving parts, I mean, marketing, and over the years, it's like, wow, I think I wasn't even 50 yet, and I had a lot of energy. I still consider myself pretty energetic, but I look back and I think, oh my gosh, how did I do all this? But I did learn so much, and Reba learned so much along the way. But bookkeeping, I've pretty much been the one on that. I'm trying to work out a way to
But you
transitions
guys, you have
and stuff.
full-time jobs. You didn't quit your jobs. This isn't what you don't have an
No.
executive director of OFOM that does that as a full-time job, right?
There's no positions at this time other than our volunteer positions. I'm executive director, Reba's co-director. We also have contracted positions of marketing, and we try to reward our team leaders at the festival because they work really hard to manage their pool of volunteers and organize all the supplies they need. And, porta potties, all the stage, the sound equipment.
Security.
Yeah, security, all kinds of things. And
When did you guys bump to Fort Benaventura?
well, we always were there. So we just had the one concert at Perry's, and the Kruger brothers were so popular. We had 400 people there, which is pretty good for Perry's. And the Kruger brothers were our headliner at our first festival, and that was wonderful too.
Yeah.
And we had Claire Lynch and Elin Jewell and some local bands, and it was kind of a hit from the beginning.
Can I just say, so that was my first year at the festival, and I'd been going to a festival in Colorado every year. It was like summer camp for adults, which is why when I discovered Fort Buenaventura and the Ogden Music Festival, I knew that I wanted to make this happen in our town because there's just something about coming back to the same place every year and seeing people grow up and seeing families grow up and seeing like people meet and get married and, just different things over the years. It's like summer camp. I don't know if any of you grew up going to summer camp, but I had magical experiences at summer camp. And now that I am an adult and having that same experience as an adult, and I remember that festival, what really touched me was Sunday was raining, remember? Like a downpour. I'm going to jinx it. Somebody knock on wood.
Always had good weather?
We've had amazing weather that weekend, but that particular 2009, there was a downpour on Sunday, and everybody huddled under the Bowery for the Kruger Brothers set. And there was not a dry eye in the house, not because of the rain, but because of the magic of that moment. And we were all just huddled together, and there's no money for that experience. And that's when I was like, I'm finding Michelle and I'm going to say, you are stuck with me. And I've just been like a junkyard dog ever since because this has to happen.
So Reba, what's your role?
I'm the co-director.
Co-director.
Yeah. And so Michelle and I both work on the fundraising, the grants, and the booking and the just basically taking the lead on all the moving parts. And it's been an amazing learning experience.
So RAMP is involved, right?
Yes. They are an amazing support for us, as well as Ogden City Arts, as well as Utah Arts and Museums, and the West Staff, which is the Western Federation of the National Endowment of the Arts. So we got a lot of good funding, government funding, plus a lot of foundation support. And local businesses in Ogden are amazing to support us. So yeah, we have. Do
you have drives, or how do you if someone just wants to give you money, how do they?
Now's the time, right? Like end of year giving.
Okay.
Because we need it. What we're finding is that all the costs are going up of doing business, and COVID kind of changed the landscape for producing live events.
Yeah.
Suddenly, Live Nation just exploded. Suddenly, Post Fontaine just exploded. Yep. There are these huge corporations who are focused on the bottom line of making money at this, and here we are with the heart and soul of art and music, and we're really struggling to keep going, so we need that support.
So I lost my camera. So how many musicians or artists can appreciate that side of it when you go to book them and are willing to maybe take a discount or something and perform?
That's interesting you say that. We haven't really been able to experience that, and we think, this is a great place, this is a beautiful place, and the musicians who perform at our festival, they want to come back. However, it's hard the traveling is hard. It seems like we're close to Denver and California, and we like to think, on some kind of a routing path, but the truth is we're an island in terms of truly
all those locations are close when we're going to them.
Yeah, when we're going to them.
Sometimes when you're coming this direction, that distance is much bigger. I think when people are traveling through. I think that when it comes to booking the artists, I had a question as well. How many at this point, because you have gained incredible momentum, musicians love playing out there, how many musicians are reaching out to you in comparison to how many bands you're reaching out to?
A lot, and it's overwhelming. And we've gotten to really, our best way to screen them is to be able to see them live. If we can't, and those are lessons we've learned on the ones that we were sad that we booked, was we didn't see them live. We just went on the word of whoever. But it's not always easy. And so as much as we like to find these up and coming new names, it's hard. And we're working on it right now. But we always want a good, strong name. We like to have a legacy artist. Some of the legacy artists we've had over the years, Mavis Staples.
Okay, how'd that happen?
Robert Earl King.
I wanted to hear the rest of your stories, but I want to hear how Mavis happened.
Well,
that is the legacy for a lot of people that live here in Ogden.
right, and
And
sadly,
I was there type of situation.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people didn't go. It was kind of poorly attended.
I was there.
Really sad.
And there's
but-
plenty of people that I know, even if they weren't there. Oh, I was there. Oh, I was there.
Yeah. So I believe I put out an inquiry, and they were just really, really responsive. I thought she was going to be out of reach. I really did. And truly, I think I paid most for her than we paid for everybody else. But we thought it was going to be more. And she was so gracious and so genuine. And when she said on stage, I've heard about this festival, and finally we get an invitation. I was wondering, are we ever going to get to play that festival?
Yeah.
And that was so wonderful. And then to meet her backstage, she took both my hands and just sincerely said, "Thank you so much for having me." And
then after you stopped crying,
I know.
What did she say to that?
It was delightful.
Crying right now.
She got in the car and left. But
And I just want to say that month was her 80th birthday month. And she played 4 shows on the weekends, right? So she played New York, Los Angeles, Nashville, and Ogden, Utah.
We're going to need to turn that into a T-shirt.
I know. It's like a bumper sticker,
Yep,
right? Like
yep.
Moab, Paris, whatever.
Mavis.
Yeah.
And then the names.
yeah, that was really great. Sometimes it's hard convincing, or sometimes we don't get a response. Some people don't recognize that it's a cool festival, but the agents I've been working with are pretty well known, and it's hard. It's hard to ignore the ones that are beating your door down, because you don't want to say no, and you don't want to say no right now because you kind of want to wait and see how everything falls out, because there's a real structure to it. Friday night, we try to have that kind of a rockin', and this year it's actually going to be a soul night. We can't announce yet, but
Okay.
it's going to be really fun. But everybody knows you can't have a whole weekend of bluegrass music, but that's what they do on the other side of the Mississippi. And these old traditional, we kind of started out a little bit like that, but we're in Ogden. Ogden is an edgy town. Ogden is diverse, and we love to shake it up. But the one thing that we're so proud that we do with our lineup is we have so many women on our lineup, and that's a must.
It's fine with me.
And we love diversity in color, and we're really trying to make a good work with our Hispanic community. They're 30% of our population, and it's so exciting. Our Dia de
And they
los
show
Muertos
up.
event.
They show up, man. They party.
Well,
they're great.
They do when it's their thing.
They're people. Yep.
But they look around our audience and they're like, I don't know if I'll be comfortable there. There's not. So we're working on it,
Yeah.
and we're building it.
Well, speaking of comfortable, Todd and I have been able to hang out backstage just a little bit. Thank you so much for inviting us with the van.
Great to have you.
And there's a whole art to how you treat the artists backstage. And so do you get feedback on
You've
that?
inspired us.
Yeah.
Just the studio itself.
so happy.
It is a thoughtful, strategic, deliberate
the
choice
food,
that you've made.
it is
Yeah.
awesome.
Can I just, so we look at this, and there are other festivals. So some of doing the research is so fun. Like Michelle said, we want to be able to see these artists live. And we've been to some amazing festivals this last summer even. And it's been inspiring to see other backstage, but also to know that we rank among the best. And our artists do give us feedback about.
Do you have little cards they fill out? How did I?
We do a survey after,
Do
and
you?
we
Yeah,
get that feedback. But the one thing I'm going to add this year, because everybody always asks, is do you have any paper? Do you have a pen for set lists? Right. Well, we went somewhere and there was a set list station backstage, and it was awesome. It was like, yes, we need a set list station backstage, and people could just go up and write their set list, and they're good to go.
Right.
What was I going to say? Oh, anyway.
Reba's been behind that, building that hospitality, and we've had different influences throughout, but we've got Lena Morgan now, and she is the bomb.
She's
and
wonderful.
she makes a great vibe, and we provide.
She's front of
healthy-
house, so she knows how to treat the back of house because she's been front of house for so long in her life and job. Yeah.
Yeah, she's good.
Yeah.
So, but Reba has been a driving force with the hospitality, and so I get off and do finances and set up some of the setup stuff and contracts, and
The sexy
Reba's
stuff.
more on the
Yeah, the sexy
the
stuff.
hands-on.
Well,
No, I wouldn't think so. Say that, but Reba's the social worker. She takes care of a lot of like the hospitality stuff. Plus,
Yeah.
she's the musician liaison with all the details about hotel rooms and travel and what are their dietary needs, and that's a huge.
And still going
Huge
strong.
thing.
Made it through COVID because that was weird and rough and everybody hated that. But we're back. And then, so what are we doing in 2023? We're back on the regular schedule and everything, correct?
Well, pretty much, and we did this fun report because we wanted to say all the things we've put together.
Yeah, hold that up. And
Okay,
I'll take some
sorry.
pictures of it. You can see this on the YouTube if you're watching on YouTube.
Yeah.
If you're not, if you're just listening to the podcast, watch on YouTube because this you can see
and
the
it's
visuals.
on the website, yeah.
Okay.
So it's
Fun
a little
report.
more than a year because it's when we came back from COVID, which was fall of 21. So we'd postponed our June festival 21 to fall. And then we turned around and did another festival in June. But in between that, we did our first Dia de los Muertos event here at the Monarch. That was a huge success. And then we did a snow foam event with the Little Smokies here. And we were like, no wonder we're exhausted.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we're back on track, and we've kind of rethought snow foam for this January. It's just kind of snuck up on us, and we're relooking. Is that really our best? It was always designed as something to do when things are kind of slow in January, and a thank you for our sponsors. And it hasn't always been the best attended, and it's a whole nother big production. So
Yeah.
we're bypassing that this year, and we'll see what. But we do have Dia de los Muertos coming up again in October, and our festival dates at Fort Buenaventura are June 2nd through 4th.
Okay. Don't take vacations to Disneyland this year, Todd.
Yeah, Todd.
Where I was last year.
Oh, I hope you guys can be here.
That was
Be
me.
there.
I'm really sorry. Yeah, we couldn't make it.
So it's always the first weekend after Memorial Day.
Yeah.
So just mark it on your calendar now, every first weekend after Memorial Day. And I do love this. We have families that come to the festival every single year. It's like their touchstone. And which is my summer camp for adults theme, right? And so they come to the festival every year. It starts their summer off. And we had a little boy who his mom told him, well, we can't go this year because we have a wedding. And he was like, Mom, it's the Ogden Music Festival. We have to go. And she said, well, if you can find a friend who's going, you can go because kids 16 and under get in free.
Yeah.
And so he found a friend and their family took him in and they went. And then I saw his mom on Sunday. She didn't have a wristband. So I just said, can I help you? And she said, I'm just waiting. I'm picking up my son. He was here all weekend.
Yeah, no, but it's kid friendly.
Oh, yeah. And so one of the things we want to make sure is that kids get instruments in their hands.
Petting zoo's genius.
Yeah.
by the way.
So we have an instrument petting zoo on site, and we just got a grant for some more instruments to build our instrument petting zoo from Ramp. Thank you, Ramp.
Yeah.
So we have guitars, mandolins, banjos, fiddles, and we actually are teaching. We're loaning those instruments out during the year and giving kids free lessons if they loan an instrument. It's the Weber Instrument Lending Library for Weber Acoustic.
Can you help me out because I screwed up? I didn't know the difference between a fiddle and a violin, and apparently there is no difference. Like
Nope.
what
It's just in how you play it.
I never knew. I thought they were two different instruments.
No, same thing.
Okay.
but fiddle's cooler in my mind.
we choose to call it a fiddle. It brings that hillbilly thing.
All right.
We bring the hillbilly factor, as Michelle likes to say. So, but during the festival, we have those instruments available for anyone, all folks, to put them in their hands and try them out. And I remember some dear friends in town, they had their son there, and the whole weekend, he wasn't even listening to anything on the main stage. He was just in the instrument petting zoo playing all the instruments. And at the end of the festival, he said, "Mom, can I get a mandolin for Christmas?" And I'm like, winning. Yeah.
Yeah, not very many kids ask for mandolins for Christmas, so that is winning. I don't know how Ogden. So on behalf of Ogden, thank you so much for everything that you do. Todd?
Oh yeah. It's hard to even say because you two are truly like the most just humble and wonderful people for what you've done, and not just for the summer festival, for the strategic and thoughtful, inclusive. I mean, what you've done with Dia de los Muertos is just, that is going to be, another legacy. And that's going to become I think a destination events itself for just Ogden's Dia de los Muertos events, right? And that's secondary to the big main event that you do. And so just keep doing what you're doing, and then we'll do everything we can to help.
Yeah.
Oh,
goes without
thanks so
saying.
much, you guys. Those were nice comments, and it truly is a labor of love. And sometimes we get a little burned out, and it's great to hear feedback that it's appreciated.
You are appreciated. Yes, we love it.
And Ogden is such a great town. I think it's perfect fit. I think, and we bring a ton of people from Salt Lake, which is a feather in our cap too, because it's 100 miles away. For the Salt Lake.
Northbound, it's 100 miles away. Southbound, it's 20. So,
and it's an event space that people who have lived here forever don't even know about sometimes.
Yeah,
and then they go for a couple of days and they find out this is like my favorite spot in all of town.
Yeah, it's a gem. And the camping, oh my gosh, we have so many campers who drive their rigs down the street to camp at Fort Buenaventura for the festival, and there's jams going on through the campground, and everybody's just having a great time and meeting new people. The vibe is what people say on the surveys as the number one thing that brings them is the vibe.
And they don't check that that's not a multiple choice question. They actually write vibe.
Yeah.
They write it. So for people to handwrite that again is a win for us. But I feel like one of the things that really makes it special is just the sheer number of volunteers that come and support the event, and we couldn't do it without that army of volunteers. And
name them. We've had so many that have been with us from almost the beginning. Well, we had Brian Smith for a good long while. He started our website, and he was awesome. But Leanne Quinn Ballard has been there from the beginning with the Kids Zone, and she's our school liaison in the school district.
Dave Wolfgram.
Dave Wolfgram, he's been amazing with
he's really helped us to focus on sustainability. And as we go to other festivals, we see that we're really making a difference there. And as we go to other festivals, like Michelle was saying, the camping, we have to get shuttled from the campground to other festivals. This Fort Buenaventura is a gem because you're right there.
Yeah. And Kara Twitchell, Sherry will work with merchandising, and she helps us with our talent selections. Tyson Pendleton has been amazing with the campground, and what a great people person. And he's got a new last name now, and I can't remember it. And
Carrie Roberts.
Carrie Roberts is our project manager, and she is a whiz bang. I'm not kidding. She has developed our ticketing.
I wish someone would call me a whiz bang. That's pretty good.
She just got her master's degree in business. And
we call you other things.
Fair enough.
But I know I'm forgetting people, but Irv Maddox from Maddox calls me up one day and said, I run Maddox Restaurant, and I just love the music you bring and love what you do. And he works all weekend long plus ahead of time. Oh my gosh, he's so
I had
wonderful.
no idea. That's wonderful.
Oh, yeah.
And if you ever come to one of our events with free food, there will always be something from Maddox, and it's always amazing. Yeah.
Oh, I
How about
love
that?
so much? And you touched on it with the camping. We can find out and share all of your experiences with all of the bands that you book. But what happens around those fires at night, you can't explain.
We can't talk about that.
And I don't think we can legally talk about it. Yeah, exactly. That's definitely what's...
Kids are in bed.
When it happens there, it
Kids are in
stays there. Yeah.
I will say, though, that we just created a everyone friendly jam space at the festival. It's called the Music Jam Camp. It's 24/7 and it's chaperoned. It's supervised. So people can be safe to have their kids go there and jam all hours. And we have artists from the main stage scheduled for 30-minute blocks to just go. So you can actually jam with artists from the main stage, which is really cool. Yeah.
And the workshops.
Yeah.
Oh, we could go on and on. The workshops are some people's favorite parts, and we put a lot of planning and thought into that. And these guys in an intimate environment are just amazing, and it's really memorable.
It's a weekend of fun. It's always that first weekend after Memorial Day, so put that on your calendar now. Don't miss OFOAM.
And all the other
Michelle,
things.
yeah, thanks so much.